Second bracket, and this would be the Minnesota Regional.
First off, congratulations on the draw. Talk about your reaction to being the number 5 overall seed.
Well, we thought we'd be somewhere between 5 and 7 based on our, the ranking in the AVCA poll, but more importantly the RPI, which is what that committee really looks at hard. So wasn't that surprised with that. 5 was probably on the favorable edge of it. Again, could have gone probably as deep as 7 or 8, but 5 puts you in a pretty good position to control your destiny to some degree.
And then you guys get to come back and play at home. How huge is that for you, knowing how great the crowd inside the Fieldhouse can be?
Well, I think that's the best part of the draw, is we've earned the right to host. If you're one of the top 16 seeds, you earn that right to host. So when they gave us the 5 seed, we knew that we were going to be hosting, and we've been very good at home. We're 15-1 at home with the one blemish, a loss to Penn State, who's a pretty good ball club. And to know that we'll have that place rocking like it has been all season long is very encouraging. But we also know we have to take care of the details. That there'll be 3 other teams here that are coming here with the same purpose that we are, and that's to win and to move on. And I think everybody that comes here feels like they're going to have a chance to do that. So we'll have to, take care of business as usual and prepare for one team at a time. And right now, that team is Morehead State.
Right, and you're talking about Morehead State right now. I heard you talk about they won their conference. What else at this point, if anything, do you know about them?
Well, I know their coach, and I know the type of players that he recruits and how he trains, and they'll play very, very hard. They'll play great defense, and they'll scrap, and they'll claw, and they'll feel like they're here to win, and they're going to be very competitive. So that's what I know about them. I think that certainly they shouldn't have some of the size and athleticism that a Big Ten team should have. But they will have a couple players that probably could fit into that description, and the other ones, feel like they got overlooked and should have been playing at this level. So it's always dangerous when you run into those kind of teams, and we'll expect a real fight.
And then if you're able to get through that, a couple teams that we're familiar with, having played earlier this season, Ball State and Louisville, some that you personally are familiar with, what does that do for you looking forward in the tournament, if you can look forward at all?
Well, we won't look forward beyond Morehead State, but I am pleased that both those teams are going to be here. Ann Cordes has done a really nice job at Louisville, just really in her first year, and so I'm excited that she's got her team back in the tournament. And then for Steve, my brother at Ball State, my alma mater, I know he was worried to death that they might not get in, despite having a great season. Last year they won the MAC, but got beat in the tournament and didn't get a bid. This year he's scheduled tougher to try to improve his RPI. They were number 33 on the RPI, so he'll be over here. So having a lot of Ball State people here, having a lot of my family here to watch that, I think will be a unique and enjoyable experience if I have enough time to try to enjoy it. Usually once the tournament starts, you're not really relaxed a whole lot of the time. You're focused on the task, and you're trying to figure out how to help your team win.
And then talk about the conference a little bit. Big Ten got 8 teams in, which is the most of any other conference, if that's right. Yeah. And 5 of them earned national seeds of the 16. So what does that speak to about not only your guys' accomplishments this year, but the whole conference?
I thought it was a great show of respect from the committee. And again, that's not a real subjective deal. That's objective. They're looking at wins and losses. They're looking at your RPI. They're not looking at what you did 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I think that's what upsets some of the the name programs is they didn't get the draw that maybe they thought they should get. And but the committee has to have some basis for why they're putting teams there. They can't just say, well, they're from this part of the country, or they've been a powerhouse in the past. They've got to have something they can point to and say, this is why we put you here. But for the Big Ten to have 5 seeded teams and 3 others that I think are going to be very dangerous. The 3 that were not seeded were Michigan State, Ohio State, and Michigan, and all 3 of those are capable of spilling the beans in whatever region that they might be in. So I think it's great. I'm glad that they didn't put Big Ten teams in the same sub-regional. That would have been real traumatic, I think, for some people. You're so happy to move on to the tournament because you're really just worn out trying to prepare for Big Ten teams, and you want to play somebody different, somebody new, and we'll all get that chance this weekend.
And last thing, Thanksgiving break's now ending. How do you guys now kind of recover and get ready now, ending the regular season for the tournament? What does this week look like for you?
Well, we're going to make it like one more week. We are fortunate we played on Friday and had Saturday off. We had today off. Tomorrow we'll go light for the most part. There'll be a couple people we'll probably even keep out of practice, those that need a little more rest. Then Tuesday we'll go hard. Wednesday we'll go relatively hard. Thursday we'll really taper off and be ready to play on Friday. But for us, because our Big Ten schedule is Friday, Saturday, this is business as usual, and that's one of the reasons I think the Big Ten teams have done relatively well in tournament play, is that there's no real difference to what they've been doing week after week after week during the grind of the Big Ten season. And as long as you've given your bodies enough time to rest and your team is emotionally charged, then I think that the Big Ten teams will have some success. And we just have to make sure we're taking one match at a time and not overlooking anybody here at Purdue.
All right, well, thanks a lot, and best of luck in the tournament.
Thanks so much, man.
How about the Boilermakers having their best season since the
Big Ten, Coach Shondell gives a lot of credit both to outside hitter Ariel Turner and the development of their setter, Rachel Davis. So they've been a lot more solid, have a lot of good wins in that conference, well positioned for the tournament.
They had the big upset last year in the tournament as they knocked out the #1 overall seed Florida. They will look to get even further in this year's NCAA tournament. Purdue, the overall